Welcome back to a special edition of the Pop Culture Jungle. Now, normally I'd be joined by my co-host Justin, but today he's sitting this one out. Instead, I've got my freezing friend Jamie here to help us break down all the latest in entertainment.
Hi guys.
Jamie, I hope you've thought out enough to dive into today's topics.
Almost. It's still pretty cold up here. I mean, like I said, I live in the basement, and it was 60 degrees when I got in my room today.
That's fair. We've got a lot to talk about. We're diving into Mara Jade possibly making her way to the big screen. Disney's struggling so hard they can't even keep a building open. New updates on Avatar, a wild Pokemon rumor, and of course our headline of the week: is Disney about to make a huge mistake? You're not going to want to miss it. So let's jump right in. So starting off over at Yahoo. Rumor Zendaya eyed for a key role, Star Wars role. Zendaya has already featured in two of the biggest entertainment franchises in the recent years. She plays MJ, the love interest as Tom Holland's Peter Parker in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And Chiny, I don't know this name. I've never watched Dune.
I don't know the name, and I've seen Dune.
Now, it is going on that she is being rumored to play Mara Jade. Mara Jade is part of the Star Wars Expanded Universe catalog. Remain one of the most beloved characters in Star Wars lore. This is coming from InsideTheMagic.net. Introduced in Timothy Zahn's acclaimed Heir to the Empire trilogy, she played a pivotal role in the Expanded Universe, serving as the Emperor's hand before ultimately becoming a Jedi Master and marrying Luke Skywalker.
Oh, wow.
Yes. So this is the time period we wanted, if we were going to continue after the movies, to see. Because there's a lot that happens in this period.
So I want to make something clear. It's between 6 and 7.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Between good movie and bad movie.
Yes.
This would be like the time period of like the Mandalorian. But when the Walt Disney Company acquired Lucasfilms in 2012, Mara Jade, along with many other expanded universe characters, were deemed non-canon. Also, this same undoing was the undoing of the Old Republic, where Revan became non-canon, but now we have a Revan movie in production too. So maybe Disney's undoing their non-canonicity of these canon characters.
Quick question, because I missed it when it happened. How did Disney uncanify it all?
Oh, they said none of these stories actually existed. The only story that actually existed was whatever Disney was producing from that point on, and the movies.
Doesn't that cancel out the Clone Wars?
Clone Wars was an exception into the ruling.
Okay.
There are a couple of exceptions, but pretty much anything that did not directly come from the Walt Disney Company, Disney said it doesn't exist, it doesn't matter, ignore.
Okay, thank you.
Which is really sad because there's some really good stories in there that they just kind of got rid of, but now, again, looks like we're going back to them. Mara Jade's story spans multiple Star Wars novels and comics. Zahn's Heir to the Empire in 1991, The Dark Force Rising 1992, The Last Command 1993 introduced her as a former assassin under Emperor Palpatine, who later forged an unlikely alliance and romance with Luke Skywalker. The story continued in The Hand of Thrawn duology, where they ultimately married, and the graphic novel Union 1999 depicted their wedding. The couple later had a son, Ben Skywalker, but tragedy struck when Mara Jade met her demise at the hand of her nephew, Jason Solo, in Sacrifice. So, there's a lot in here, and there's pieces of these stories that we got, but they're not connected back because we did not bring one of the non-canon characters who connects all these lines together. Because, again, Ben Skywalker, they convert to Ben Solo. When they had Jason Solo, they could have used, but they would, in order to have Ben Skywalker again, that means we would have had the love interest of Mara Jade. We didn't have that.
I do have to
Why?
say, having a Ben Skywalker makes so much more sense than a Ben Solo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because again, so that's the fun thing of it is they go on in the expanded universe and make these characters so interesting that, like, again, Ben Skywalker is a good character. He is a good guy who gets struck down by his nephew, or
Cousin.
his 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 mom gets struck down by his cousin.
Yes.
And these are interesting, fascinating stories. This is cool. It's coming back in since now we have in Thrawn being worked back into
From
the
Ahsoka.
In Ahsoka, and also other pieces were being introduced through Rebels. So originally, Brie Larson was the potential person they were looking at for years. However, so it went Brie Larson, then it went Elizabeth Olsen, then Karen Gillian. However, now it sounds like that instead it may be going to Zendaya, which, frankly enough, any of the female actresses we've talked about right here, they all would be fantastic in this role. I'm super excited for this character to be coming forward. Even if she's only going to show up for a little bit in one of these shows, she'll probably make her appearance in the Mando movie.
Yeah, that would make sense.
That'll probably be where they start it, and if it pulls enough people, then we can continue further in that run.
I'm curious if they're gonna make, if she does well, and that does well, if they're gonna make a spin-off series with her, if they'd recast Luke Skywalker.
I hope so.
I hope so too.
All for this.
What was that?
I'd be all for this because there's so much interesting stuff that happens in this period. When, again, okay. So one thing that always bugged me about the movies.
Which movies?
At the end of what? At the end, the main movie. So at the end of episode 6, the Emperor and Vader are defeated. The movies always lead it off to, okay, the war is just done. Then the Empire just dissolves and we're all happy, which is not the case. There are still legions who are loyal to the Emperor and who still fight for the Emperor.
I think Mando's done a good job of bringing some of that out. Not much, but some.
It did. Mando lost me after like the first season. The second season, I got lost during. I was like,
That's fair. I've been a big Mandalorian fan since day one. It was the first thing I watched on Disney Plus when it dropped that morning. So I've been a big fan. And
yeah, no.
So
what was that?
So I've stayed up to date on Mandalorian. Even if I'm not watching it right as it drops, I watch it pretty quick after.
No, yeah. Yeah. It'll be interesting to see what happens with this. Again, this is rumor territory. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't. I think Zendaya would be fantastic for this role.
Yeah.
And I think it would be a lot of fun. I think this is such a cool area of the canon to go into. It's just like Revan. When we heard that there's a possibility of the Revan movie being worked on, as long as they don't mess with the story, because Revan is such a integrate and such a chaotic story, there's so much fun you could have with that run.
Yeah.
Again,
oh, go ahead.
With Revan goes ahead and the Mandalorians are conquering the galaxy, and so Revan and Malik lead a group of Jedi to go stop the Mandalorians, which then splits the group and ends up recreating another group of the Sith to, after the Mandalorian Wars was over, to start the Jedi Civil War. And there's so much in there you could do. So many stories you can go into.
I've enjoyed, so saying with this theme of like, if they did after episode 6, It would be a lot of fun because there's a lot that we know happens between 6 and 7. It sucks if they change the names because they already did 7 and they probably aren't going to come back and say we messed up and did anything like that, do anything like that.
One could only hope.
Yes, but even if they just change the names a little bit and make it work a little bit, getting a new Luke Skywalker, love it's Mark. What's his name? The actor.
Mark Hamill.
Yeah, love him.
Mark Hamill.
But he can't play young Luke Skywalker without it being CGI, and it kind of looks weird when they've done it in the past.
Yeah, Mark Hamill, before he got super involved with politics, I've more so enjoyed. Lately, he's just kind of somebody needs to check on him, make sure he's okay.
It's the
him as the Joker. Him as the voiceover for Joker was fantastic.
Yeah. Didn't he do? Wait, quick question. Didn't he do Lord Ozai too?
No.
No, who's that then?
No, I'm pretty sure he did not.
I gotta look that up because I thought he did. Because it was someone big.
Ozai, voice actor.
Oh no, it's some of it was Mark Hamill. It says
some of it was Mark Hamill. You are correct. It was Mark Hamill, and then became Daniel Day Kim
when it became live action. But the animated was Mark Hamill.
Oh well, there you go. You are correct on that. So, no, I mean his voiceover work, like him as a performer, he's a good performer. It's just there's some people that should be off social media, in my opinion, but that's a personal opinion. That's a hot take. That's going to get me in trouble too. Moving past the hot take, so we don't keep seeing trouble.
Going back to what I was saying, though, getting a young Luke Skywalker or a younger Luke Skywalker to kind of fill in what's happened, I think would be really, really cool.
No, yeah,
it'd be a lot of fun. You could play with it and have so much fun, I think, with it.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Before we move into this next topic, we are going to go ahead and make this clear. We are not a political channel. We do not push politics on anybody. We don't go ahead and discuss politics. We have our own political views, but this is not what we're going to be discussing. This is a political topic, but we're talking about it in the sense of entertainment.
We're just trying to bring you guys the news. That's it. We don't want to bring politics in it.
Hello, Liam Hughes. So, this is coming out of Yahoo Finance. Senator Warren urges the DOJ to scrutinize Disney Fubo deal. Now, we are bringing this because we did talk about this before. My understanding when we brought up the information about Fubo was Disney had already been approved to do it. However, this does not appear to be the case because it looks like the deal has yet to finish. So, this is going on to discuss how Senator Warren believes, and with great, strong opinion about it. We're both doing good. How are you doing, Liam? Anywho, she is scrutinizing Disney about this Fubo deal, stating that this is moving into the realm of monopoly, which Disney used to have good allies on the Democratic Party because they have been more that way. This is interesting. If this does get shot down, it means the lawsuit that Disney's in with Fubo goes forward because they are being already sued for copyright infringement.
Okay.
Your thoughts, Jamie?
I'm trying to phrase this the right way, so give me a second while I figure out what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
I think looking closer at everything is fine. I think it's a good thing. Monopolies do hurt things. They are good in some places. They aren't good in everything. I think looking closer at it, making sure that it's not a monopoly isn't a bad thing. If it's, again, with everything, as long as it's handled the right way, it should be fine.
Yeah, and I mean, I get where Disney was coming from. They wanted to get Fubo because Fubo has good live streaming, live TV, and the sports side of it, and they were going to integrate that more to Hulu. But as this goes on to talk about, them buying that means that they would own the majority of the live streaming side of television. So, now, if this does get shot down, the fun part of that is the Walt Disney Company, and I believe it was 4 other companies, all have to pay penalties to Fubo for delaying their lawsuits and such because they backed out of the sales technically, even though the government would force it.
That sucks. I don't think that's fair.
It's so you don't go ahead and have a situation where I'm big corporate A, you're corporate B, and you have something, then you're about to come out with something that I want. I come in and I can put a hold on your company because I'm buying it and let it sit there and stuck in deals for, a year and then back out of it. And now that item you had that was worth $1 million is not. That's why that penalty is in there.
I think if it was done with full faith and intention, it shouldn't be on those companies to pay that fine. If they were going in with full faith and intention of buying it, which again is very difficult to prove.
Yeah. Disney are going to end and say whatever you want about them, like them or hate them. They're that popular. They're not going to end. Sorry. You're correct, but there's more to everything, and we're going to actually get into the bigger part that might destroy the brand image, and that's the end of the show. We're building towards that, because they are in a situation right now. Well, one of our other topics is going to be going into how even their shareholders now have opened a lawsuit against them. And again, our big topic, they may be losing their audience bases based on the fact that they're going to outprice them real fast. Because they already are in the process of doing that, which is why New York Times has already responded to it. Yeah?
Yeah.
If Kingdom Hearts 4 finally comes out, I'm excited. We've been streaming Kingdom Hearts 4 here. Toy Story 5, I'm not excited for Toy Story 5. Toy Story 3 is where it ended. It did not go on after that.
It should have ended there. They shouldn't have kept going. Toy Story 3 was such a great ending.
Now, we are going to go ahead and bring this up. So over at Epcot, Communicore Hall did open back on June 10th. This is a video showing it. Jamie,
yeah, I'm coming.
Question for you.
Yes.
So Communicore Hall at this point, realistically, is pretty much just a meet and greet. This is the space. Is there any way this space could have technical difficulties that would have to close it for the day?
The only thing I could think of is a big electrical issue, like the light's not working.
Well, we're not entirely sure what it was, but apparently Mickey and Minnie had to be moved back to the Imagination Pavilion due to technical difficulties that closed the building. This opened in June. It hasn't been a year, and they're having issues.
I could build a shed that would last longer than that.
Right?
And I work in a museum, and I could build a shed.
So Mickey Mouse, Minnie Mouse can be found in, sorry, this is coming from Blog Mickey, in their new old location today at Epcot. The iconic duo have been temporarily relocated to the Imagination Pavilion following technical difficulties at their typical Communicore Hall location. We made it out to Epcot today and found them meeting in the lobby of the Pixar Short Film Festival. It's unclear how long Mickey and Minnie will be there, but cast members were helping redirect them. So, again, that was the image of it. This is from Dreamfinder Guy over on X. This is when he went ahead and he came out to come take a look where it was. This is pretty much an abandoned building at this point because this is just doing the Pixar shorts. And so they have this big old empty lobby for a show that nobody comes to that's off the side. It's not even towards the middle of the park. And that's where the new meet and greet is temporarily while they fix their technical difficulties. Like, what is going on at Epcot? We've discussed sewage coming and falling out of the ceiling, lights not working in the main area, And now Mickey and Minnie have even lost their meet and greet spot due to more technical problems.
That's so weird. Like, I'd understand closing it down to put like a seasonal overlay or something for like a day or half a day or something. Because in the first video it looked like they had a seasonal background or something. Would make sense. But
sorry to interrupt you, but this is just how it is. The normal painting is.
Okay.
Go on.
Oh, I mean, something else to think about is, did a kid get sick? Did something like that happen?
That is a good point to bring out. However, from everything I've seen and it looks like it was closed for the entire day. Like it closed in the morning. Like even if a kid gets sick, you should be able to clean that pretty quickly. Again, you and I both worked at a theme park an amusement park for a little bit.
Yeah. And that being said, how often does that happen on a regular basis already with that many people? Even just traveling from all over the world, eating different foods and stuff. Not everyone's digestion systems can handle everything.
Yeah.
So
now, you weren't with us when we were discussing the Rivers of America in Walt Disney World being changed over to cars.
Yes.
Do you think, and I'm going to word this as nicely as I can, this team of Imagineers, with what we've seen from Tiana's By Adventure on both coasts, the Communicore Hall, the lighting around the parks, the maintenance we've seen, do you think they can actually handle such a big replacement in the park?
To do this, I have a couple questions for clarification. I know a lot of the issues currently that we've seen with Epcot in the past 2 months, because that's really when a lot of it's happened. I'll go back 4 months even. A lot of those issues we've talked about have mostly been in Florida, correct?
Yes, because they have the most recent things that were done under this team. The other thing that we have out here is the gift shop that they opened up, didn't have drainage to, that flooded when we had a half-inch rain. And them building a new ADA elevator at Haunted Mansion that leads to a door that you have to be able to do a twist knob to push open, which is not ADA either.
So is this a new team of Imagineers?
It is a young team of Imagineers. A lot of the older Imagineers are currently working on Epic.
You know what? There's going to be some stuff that happens with a new team.
Absolutely.
It seems like there's some oversights that are happening. But it does leave a lot of concern for a big project like that, because even Tiana's Bayou had so many issues when it opened.
Last I heard, since December, Tiana in the finale scene still has yet to move out of her A pose.
At both parks or ours?
Ours.
Well, and ours is I've grow up going to Disneyland, so
yeah. Well, remember ours opened much later than theirs, and again, in the finale show scene, Tiana is stuck in a pose because there's a part broken since it was broken at least December 14th, and it has been broken since then. I don't know if it broke before that.
Wow. I don't know how I feel about all of them doing something, because I'm imagining something a lot like Radiator Racers, just because that's a simple comparison for me.
Yeah.
That has so many moving parts and things that need to work out perfectly that's kind of frightening.
Well, yeah, and I mean, I have to look at it this way. We down here in Southern California at Radiator Racers, again, we don't get a lot of rain. Whenever we get a little bit of rain, they immediately have to close the attraction due to it slipping and sliding. How are they expecting to do that in Florida? I mean, they have Test Track, but Test Track has problems when it rains too. But doing that on a bigger scale in Florida, where it rains like every day,
Like when it missed, it shuts it down. unless they figure something out, which, granted, some of the things that looks like they've missed are they didn't take into consideration the drainage properly. They put a wrong doorknob on. The doorknob's been easy fix. I don't know the drainage, how that's gonna.
Well, the drainage, they've already blocked it off to go ahead and start working on trying to re-add drains. The door, I don't know if they're even going to do anything because they haven't yet. And that opened back in when the attraction opened. Well, that's open. That was when the line opened. So that happened back in December. That was December 14th when I saw it. And it had already been like that for 2 weeks.
Yeah. It seems like a lot of institutional knowledge and think this is how things should be done was lost.
Yeah.
But I'm also playing both, trying to be devil's advocate as well. These
Absolutely.
are good learning experiences as well. It sucks for sometimes in the public, but you have to learn somehow.
No, absolutely. Again, you know me, I'm a huge Disney fan, and the only reason I'm so critical of the company is because I enjoy the company so much. Is that a fair statement?
We hold them to a higher standard because that's what we've expected from them.
Correct. If you're from this area, you know that about 20 minutes down the road, there's another theme park, and I put that very graciously. There's really big asterisks on that, and they are called Knott's Berry Farm, and that's how it could be if, in my opinion, if Disney were to go on a cheaper route. That park is still fine. It's not my favorite, but it's a lot of concrete, and it's more of just a ride-based park.
It's a roller coaster-based park. It's a better way. I look at it more like a roller coaster-based park.
It is a roller coaster-based park.
They do have some theming, but Disneyland is way up here compared to it. Miles ahead.
Absolutely. No, again, my oldest memories are at Disney, and my favorite cruise line is Disney Cruise Line because they are so much better at everything they do. And that's just why I'm always so critical of it. It's why, again, when we're leading up to this main headline later on, it makes me mad. And I even talked to friends and family already about this. My mom was a cast member for 25 years. And even she's going, what in the world are they doing? Because it's going to hurt its brand image. And that's what we're building to. So you mean the theme park ending? Yeah, again, still not going to happen. That's a part of the main thing. Okay. First off, this editor note to myself. This section is not part of the last video. So part of the thumbnail and such and name is clickbaity. I'm going to be honest. That's YouTube. Do I think the company is going to end? No. My biggest thing is, do I think one of their decisions they might, it is still a rumor, they might make could really hurt the brand image? Yes. And that is the main topic we're going to get to. Because you have to be careful with what you do. And when we have now the New York Times, we talked about this on Tuesday, doing articles where they're talking about how even Disney corporate, not necessarily the main corporate officers, but people in corporate buildings, are discussing how they're starting to price out their audience. And even the New York Times is now saying that Disney's starting to price out their audience and is going to be causing problems for themselves. We have to acknowledge that that's a truth. We've seen it there at the parks. The parks aren't in a good shape, and they're not as busy all the time. They used to be packed every day of the year.
Yeah.
My boss would take his family every year for a week and hasn't done that for the last few years. So, moving along with our topics. This was surprising news that Jamie sent me. So we're going to watch the little TikTok that he sent me, and then I actually have the article too.
Breaking news. There's a new Avatar on the way. I can't believe it.
In celebration of the 20th anniversary of Avatar: The Last Airbender, Nickelodeon has officially announced a brand new series.
The mythology of the adventures of the Avatar universe continues in Avatar: Seven Havens.
Seven Havens will be set in a world shattered by a devastating cataclysm.
When a young earthbender discovers she's the new Avatar, her and her long-lost twin must uncover their mysterious origins.
And they must save the Seven Havens before civilization's last strongholds collapse, all the while being hunted by both human and spirit enemies.
Because in the era of Seven Havens, being the Avatar means you're humanity's destroyer, not savior.
Wow. I wonder what the last Avatar did to cause that.
I can't imagine, Varney. But if you're fired up and you're ready to talk about all things Avatar, we got something else that'll lift your spirits.
Braving the Elements is back!
You gotta deal with it!
Join us on our award-winning watch-along podcast when we dive into a brand new...
So, yes, apparently this shocked me. I thought this series was dead at this point. It's been so quiet in the waters, but the Avatar sequel series Seven Havens is returning for a new 26 half-hour-long episodes to be across 2 seasons of, or books 1 and 2 of Avatar style. And the show will be debuting this one. I don't think it said. But, like, how cool is that, Jamie?
I'm so excited. I loved the original Avatar. I kind of fell off with Korra.
Yeah.
I didn't even finish the first season, but I remember waiting for the finale of Avatar to come out and watching it when it was coming out. It was so much fun.
You finally get to find out if Aang is still alive. It looked like him. No, so in Avatar Legends of Korra, Avatar Aang had passed away, which is why Avatar Korra came around. I'm assuming what this means is this is probably going to be the Avatar directly after Korra. So being that Aang was air, Korra was water, this is going to be Earth. This should be our Earth Avatar.
Yes, that's right. It follows the same cycle Aang learned the elements.
Yes. Yeah, because the hardest element is always the previous element. So for him, the hardest was fire.
No, it's the opposite, I thought.
It's the opposite. You're right.
Well, it was Earth for him.
Aang's problem with fire is just it's more aggressive and he's passive.
Yes. That was
no, that's cool. I'm super stoked. We'll definitely be watching it. I own actually all of them, so I need to go back and watch the Korra series. Maybe in November on the plane, I'll just pull out the MacBook and we can watch some Korra while we're there, because I'll be watching at that point. Because in November, we'll be also posting vlogs from the Disney Treasure, because we're all going to go out there and check it out and give our full honest opinions about that, because we're always honest about whatever we're talking about, because my integrity is more important than, as some people would go after, a cupcake.
I'm excited to go on a vacation, honestly.
You don't like being in the snow all the time?
No. It's cold. And icy. And people don't know how to drive in it, and it's scary.
Yeah. All right. Over at the Hollywood Reporter, Disney's multi-billion-dollar streaming decisions may be unearthed in a court battle against investors. So, a judge declined to dismiss a lawsuit from investors who claimed that former CEO Bob Chapek aimed to hide Disney Plus costs and make forecasts that it would be profitable by 2024. These announcements did happen. I don't know if you remember them, Jamie. I do.
Announcements that Disney Plus would be profitable?
When they were going to be profitable by 2024, how cheap it was going to be to run it all.
I vaguely remember that.
I mean, it's a big reason why when Iger took back over, all of a sudden it changed from Disney Plus was going to be profitable by 2024, that our streaming services were going to be profitable by 2024, because they were in the process of purchasing out Hulu, which they were able then to take the profits of that, because Hulu is still very profitable.
I love streaming services, But it got to be the same thing as like paying for premium channels. There's too many.
Yeah. So, U.S. District Judge Consuelo Marshall on Wednesday denied a bid by Disney to dismiss the lawsuit, finding that former company executives who allegedly devised a plan to make it appear that its streaming platform could reach Netflix-like scale may have, quote, ended in deceptive conduct. The complaint alleged that Chapek aimed to hide Disney Plus costs and make forecasts that it would be profitable by 2024 believable by overhauling the executive leadership structure and airing certain shows meant to be streaming originals on legacy TV networks to conceal losses amid slowing subscriber growth. Chapek, who ascended to CEO less than a month before COVID-19, still convenient how that happened. I'm sorry, I'm going to sit on that bridge. Hit the company's core business, decided to, quote, go all in on streaming platform, quadrupling subscribers targets figures by 230 million by 2024, according to the complaint. As of December 2024, Disney Plus core subscribers stood at 124.6 million.
Ooh.
Yeah. Now, mind you, they also in this last quarter lost another 700,000 subscribers.
Wow.
They'll keep owning Marvel and just nothing. Yeah, but Disney is currently in bad spaces with movies also, and that's not helping either.
No, not at all. Not helping at all.
Because I wasn't gonna pull them right now, but let's just go look at the numbers real quick for Cap. Again, if we go by Disney's number, and we're being generous, 188 million for the budget. Normally, these movies use at least half that price to go ahead and do their marketing. So 180 million means 90 million, meaning we are up to $270 million. And then whatever that is, whatever was sold at the box office, it takes about half of. So 270 divided by 2 is 135. So that means the movie, at least to break even, would need to have 600 million. Is my math kind of correct?
That sounds right.
So, as of February 21st, which was Friday, the movie has edged itself up to 120 million.
Ooh.
It should be sitting at least in this this yellow area up above.
Uh-huh.
That means that it's keeping on its original path of it was starting on. If it's below it, it means that it is falling off that path faster than they can recoup, which we can see here. Now, there is always a chance that these numbers can go ahead and all of a sudden people can just start rushing to the theaters this weekend. We are going to bring this up again on Tuesday. We will keep for the next few weeks watching this. We'll do the same with Snow White. That being said, we do know, even though officially they have stated there only was one reshoot, we know there was actually several because we have crews that actually have talked about it. We again went over that on Tuesday, meaning this movie more so probably needs to make closer to 800 million to 900 million to break even. And the rate that Marvel movies normally drop off, they drop off normally pretty solid and fast. I believe it's a 45% weekend over. It means that this movie would have to do what no Marvel movie had done before and just skyrocket out of nowhere, which is very unlikely. I'm predicting, being that we're at 120 million as of yesterday, box office run, I'm going to give it to 2. I think it will break 2, but it's not
US or international.
That is domestic. International, it's still saying 97. Like it was after the opening weekend, it was at 90 million. That added an extra 7 million. So Worldwide is at 217. I think domestically we're going to get to that 200 million, but I don't think it's going to be enough to break it even.
I agree.
And this is showing also the problem with Disney Plus is this is showing how fast the fan bases has also gotten tired of all of the extra things. Because frankly enough, I can't even keep up with it all.
I agree with Kevin's comment. It's not Anthony Mackie's fault. Phenomenal acting. It was the writing that killed the movie.
Absolutely. And Justin and I definitely defended that argument in our review of it. Because, I mean, we gave it, Justin was a 3, I was at a 2. So we gave it like a 2.5. And straightforward, Anthony Mackie's performance was the strongest performance in the movie by far.
Oh, yeah.
But the writing is so awful. The writing is... The way I described it was they know for the next big Avengers movie and such what we need to have set up. And they knew at the end of this movie what they wanted to be at. They did not know how to get there, so they just made it work.
Absolutely. And I can't blame the actors for that. It's not their fault. They did the best with what they had.
Now, again, on Tuesday's show, when we did discuss this movie more, we actually went into an article that came out, I want to say it was by Screen Rant, where they did an interview with one of the guys on the production team. And as he put it, production was pretty rough also just because of Harrison Ford, which is unfortunate because I like Harrison Ford. I thought his performance in this was very weak, though. And I felt like he was just there for money. Disney promoting Snow White real hard. I wouldn't be shocked or surprised if the film be a success for live action. I don't know about that, just because that movie already has on its first 2 main trailers that came out. They both hit over 1 million dislikes, which is an awful thing to have to say about any movie. The current trailer that's out has I did the math the other day. It was a 3.2, I want to say it was, like to dislike ratio, which is not a good sign either. I think Disney's going to really push it, but that movie was in production hell for so long that I don't know if it's going to be able to recoup it either. Because, again, that movie went into production well before the pandemic and the closures. They've had their set burned down. They've gone back, I believe it's 6 different reshoots they did. Don't quote me on that, but from everything I read, I believe that's where they're at. That movie has to break probably closer to $1 billion to break even, if I'm going to be honest. Because that movie has spent so much money in its marketing and in its production and everything.
Kevin does bring up a good point. Online hate doesn't automatically translate to box office failure.
No, absolutely. Because frankly enough, a lot of times if I see a movie that's absolutely hated online, it encourages me to go see it because I want to see what all the hate was about. That only means Disney won't do live action remakes of Tarzan or Pocahontas. I mean, possibly. We do know Moana is already in production. That's being one of the lead producers of that is actually The Rock himself. And again, when that comes out, we'll see it. We do know coming this year will be Lilo and Stitch, and Lilo and Stitch, I think, is what's going to be the live action success that Disney needs to double down in live actions. I've heard rumors for years, and this is a rumor I'm always down to go ahead and talk about, of them possibly doing a live action Treasure Planet or Atlantis.
I would love that. Love either one.
Both those movies definitely could use it, and those are both super big favorite movies of mine.
Correct me if I'm wrong, George, but doesn't Treasure Planet already have written a sequel and a third?
So Treasure Planet did have at least a sequel written because they actually had moved into production of it. However, the box office failings of Treasure Planet, and that being said, it still made its money, but it did not make enough to make it a success. They scrapped the production partway through. Like they were like 2 months into it. I want to say it was
Okay.
because the directors of it immediately ran into it, and the live action Hercules is still coming. It is.
George is so excited for that.
I'm excited for that, and the few times we've gotten to hear him sing, the man can belt, and I'm all for it. Hire people with a fantastic talent if you're going to put them in a musical, and I will gladly buy my buttery popcorn and I'll go see it 3 or 4 times. I have no problem with it. Or give me a movie that's all jokes and fun, like Deadpool and Wolverine, and I did go and see that 5 times, and I have no problem saying that.
I just didn't have the time to go to theaters multiple times to go watch a movie. I live down in the middle of nowhere.
Well, so I went with your sister, brother-in-law, and Nikki for the opening night.
Okay.
Something happened that Justin couldn't go, or Justin and Lynn couldn't go. So then I went with Justin and Lynn the following morning. And then Tracy and Kenny weren't able to go to that. So I went with Tracy and Kenny the next morning. And then I went back like 2 more times because there was nothing going on. So I was like, I'll go see a movie.
That's fair. I went to so many more movies when I was down by you. It was so much easier. Now it's like 30 minutes to the theater and then driving back. And especially in winters, like the weather's not the best. Do I really want to go down there? There's not a movie theater between me and work because, again, I drive through the middle of nowheres.
Do I think Dana Walden is going to be the next CEO? Jamie, I'll let you take it first. Dana Walden, because I don't think you know who she is currently the head of what?
I have no clue who she is.
Dana Walden is the current head of ABC.
Okay.
She is the executive producer, the lead design choice. She is the one who. She was the one we know for a fact was being built up to be the next CEO. Do you think she is going to be the next CEO?
I don't know enough about any of this to have an opinion. From what you tell me, possibly, maybe, I don't know.
So, I don't think she is. I think she was going to be. I don't know if they have a choice, because that's came up. I want to say it was November is when it came up that all of a sudden, out of the blue, Disney brought on the board member. I believe he is from Chase Bank. He's now on the board, and his entire position and role is to find a new CEO. And I think if they were going to have Dana Walden take that spot, I think they wouldn't have needed to bring anyone else. Bob Iger would have just made the announcement. I think they're currently doing interviews, and I almost want to say I think they're looking outwards. What I want them to do, and this is just me being more passionate about the way the company used to be ran, I think they need to go and do like Netflix. Netflix currently has a dual CEO ship. One CEO is what was that?
What does that do? You're just explaining it. I was just asking.
I was just about to explain it. So one CEO's main focus is on the money side of the company. Their job is to make sure that everything they're doing is increasing costs, sales, revenue. The other one isn't worried as much about the money side, more so as the creative side for like the Netflix originals and Netflix shows. And that really, if we look back to the Walt Disney Company back when it was founded by Walt and Roy Disney, that's really what it was. Roy Disney was focused on the financial side. Walt was focused all on the creative side, and it worked very well. And I think that's what the Walt Disney Company needs.
Walt couldn't hold the money.
No. Walt would spend his money anytime he got the choice to, if it went ahead and he could do something. Again, he went ahead and took a loan out against his own house in order to make Snow White. Yeah, because he was so passionate about that project. And I think Disney needs to go back to that kind of a corporate structure build out where, because even if we look at Frank Wells and Michael Eisner, this was the first half of the Eisner era, with the good part of the Eisner era. Okay, Eisner was a very creative mind. He was the lead of the company, but he was a very creative mind and straightforward. All the stories I've heard from other people who would be in meetings with him, he always would open up, talking about some crazy idea. Like at one point he wanted to build, he says now he never meant it as a real thing, but we don't know for a fact, but he wanted to build a Mickey Mouse hotel over Buena Vista, and legitimately it was in the shape of Mickey Mouse. And the idea was this was to go ahead and get everybody in the room understanding that there's not a bad idea. We need the creative juices going. Where Frank Wells could get the public behind him, but also was very financially and money smart and could keep the company profitable with all the crazy decisions. Unfortunately, Frank Wells passed away, and then we get the second half of the Eisner era.
I really hope that's what they do, and they can have a lot of fun with it. The Walt and Roy, name it after that, and I think it could work out well.
Yeah. And again, I think if we go that route, it just means we have a better corporate leadership system, because then opposed to having one CEO who is making this decision over this ginormous company they become. Because again, when Walt and Roy were running it, the company was tiny compared to now.
Yeah.
And putting all of that on one person, that's a lot. So instead of us putting one guy there, having the two of them that, okay, even if the creative decision has to still come in every so often and be more financial, you have that person to bounce your ideas off of and your thought off of.
You have an equal.
Anybody is better than Iger. This is a place where anybody at this point is better than Iger. As my old man and I were putting it when we were discussing things the other day, Iger is going to be known as the man who spent money. That is all at this point he's going to come down to, because that's really all he's done, at least in recent history that we can think of. And recently his decisions have not been leading the company in a good way.
I know, George, just you and me in charge.
You and me in charge? Oh, yeah. Yeah, I know how to run a corporate 500 company. Absolutely.
You always pull me back when I have the crazy ideas, so we can do it.
Anywho,
we're going
to step into some rumor territory. And this is a rumor I have heard of before. I don't think it's true. I'm hoping it's true. And frankly enough, if this was going to happen, this is the year it would happen. Supposedly, Screen Rant actually did the article on it. A Pokemon Classic Collection is going to be coming out, and it's going to be announced during the Pokemon Company's next big panel, which we are going to touch into, because they are doing a press release on the 27th.
So like 5 days?
In like 5 days.
Exciting.
There is a chance. But as this goes on to explain, the Pokemon Classic will be the first 3 generation games. So Pokemon Red and Blue, Pokemon Crystal. Are you going to give me my list to make my life easier? You're not. I cannot remember all the names off the top of my head.
It
is the first
Sapphire, Emerald, and Ruby?
Yes. Because it's right here. Diving into the games, Pokemon Red and Blue encompasses the first generation in Kanto. Pokemon Gold and Silver, the second generation of games that took place in Johto. And then Ruby and Sapphire that took place in Hoenn. Now, there are several ones that are missing from this, including Yellow, Crystal, and Emerald. As this article goes on to explain, the thought is, if this is going to be true, is those would either be additional DLC you can buy, which with the Pokemon Company, I could see that being a thing, or if you were a Nintendo Plus subscriber or Nintendo Online subscriber, it's Nintendo Online, it would be you get them for free.
Okay.
If this is true, I'm all for it, because frankly enough, they are fantastic games. But this is the Pokemon Company. We do know ahead of this year's Pokemon Day on February 27th, the Pokemon Company has announced a variety of fan-centric offerings to give trainers around the world new ways to engage with Pokemon brand. In its annual holiday to commemorate the release of the original Pokemon game, the original game of Pokemon Red and Green in Japan. since the Pokemon Company has continued to spread around the world. I was like, wait, did I just confirm my own thing? But no. So we have a year of Eevee at the Pokemon Centers, meaning everything's going to be more spotlight of Eevee.
Okay. Didn't they just come out with the evolutions of Eevee for the card game?
I mean, there's always a new set whenever Eevee gets a new one.
Yeah, isn't that what just happened though?
Yeah, there was a new one, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Flying Terra type Eevee distribution for the Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet video games. The Pokemon Go Pokestop highlighting Eevee, Glaceon, and Leafeon. The Pokemon Day celebrations at the Pokemon League locations. The Overtime Elite semifinal game featuring Pokemon appearances and arena takeover, and the Pokemon animated contest. Now, we do also know that they are doing their stream at 6 a.m. on the Pacific Standard Time, the 27th, where they're going to be talking about something, because this is always when the big announcement comes out. And do I think we're going to see this rumor actually come true? Probably not. Do I want it to? Absolutely. I can be hopeful. Absolutely, because even your brother-in-law last night when we were hanging out, he was just like, if this comes out, I'm gonna buy it day of, and I can sit down and play the entire original series again. And I'm like, absolutely, I'd go back and stream them. I would legitimately right here be streaming all of the original ones because they are fantastic.
People would easily drop $150 on that.
Oh yeah. If you told me that game was like $120 for all three or $150, here's my wallet.
For all
there's a collector edition for $300, absolutely. Here it is. Let's go.
Yeah. It would sell. It would be off the shelves. You couldn't keep it on the shelves.
Now, we have one last fun article before we get into our headlining article of the day, and this one's just funny. This is over there at Game Rant. A bizarre Assassin's Creed shadow parody game called Yasuke Simulator appears on Steam. A parody of Ubisoft's upcoming Assassin's Creed Shadows called Yasuke Simulator has recently appeared on Steam. The bizarre Steam title allows gamers to play as the famous African samurai featured in Assassin's Creed Shadows, but adds some comical elements to the gameplay, such as cars and firearms.
They have to say historically accurate, though. So they're historically accurate.
On the Steam page, it actually states that this game is historically accurate. It is fantastic. Originally announced last year, Assassin's Creed Shadows is one of the most controversial game franchises. Yes, we're not going to get into controversy. If you know the controversy, you know the controversy. Now an unknown developer known as History Accurate Developers has unveiled Yasuke Simulator, a third-person action game that puts the players in the shoes of Assassin's Creed Shadows protagonist Yasuke in 1579. The big twist, as shown in the trailer, is that instead of Yasuke using only traditional Japanese weapons, such as katanas, he can also unlock weapons such as rifles, ride modern cars. The game, which has a clear comedic tone, is playful with a historical controversy surrounding Ubisoft's game, as the developer states that it has done its research to, quote, provide a totally historically accurate depiction, end quote, of the period. Graphics-wise, Yasuke Simulator does look a bit generic with simple graphics, which were partially made by AI. According to the developer, if neither game is delayed, Yasuke Simulator will be released March 20th, the same day as Assassin's Creed. This is funny. This is pettiness.
Yeah, absolutely. I find humor in it, though. I wouldn't spend the money on it, but the memes are funny.
I am Oda Nobunaga.
Oh yeah, no, I would not buy it, but this is just funny. Like, this is somebody going, I can go ahead and make a few sales off of something really, frankly, just dumb. I know people who are planning on streaming this.
Good for them. It looks very historically accurate with those guns and cars.
I mean, yeah, what else would be going on at that time period? Come on now.
Absolutely nothing else.
Nothing else.
They got the important things, right?
teach Pokemon. Sorry, singing. Yeah, you're good, Kevin. Will take risks. They'll get back and stay like forever. They're gonna end up coming back. Disney always does.
Yeah. They have too many diehard fans. I mean, just look at us.
Yeah. So, again, this is our headline topic. This is a rumor. However, there is some truth behind it, which is why I'm okay ranking this the main piece. So, coming out of WDW News Today, rumor: Walt Disney World and Disneyland Resort moving to a fluctuating demand-based ticket pricing. Now, currently, Disney does already have a fluctuating ticket pricing based on the day, but that is usually set like a year in advance. When the ticket prices go out, when you're allowed to buy tickets, that is the price.
Yes.
It does shift day to day based on the thought
Weekend,
of how
weekday, stuff like that. Holiday.
Walt Disney World and Disneyland Resort will soon switch to a flexible pricing model with ticket prices fluctuating based on demand, not just date. So this type of dynamic pricing debuted in Disneyland Paris last year, according to Walt Disney WDW Magic sources. Walt Disney World and Disneyland Resort will switch to the pricing model soon. Walt Disney World switched to date-based ticket pricing in October 2018. In December 2022, they introduced park-specific pricing for one-day tickets. The new model would refine this even further, with pricing changing based on guest demand. This means pricing for specific date and park could go up as more guests buy tickets, even changing on the actual date instead of being a fixed ahead of time. We don't know when the pricing model could be introduced in the U.S. parks, and that's really where that ends. This is not good. This could hurt the Disney brand really bad because you're going to start fluctuating price too much on a ticket price that's already being complained is already too high. Now, it would be crazy to go ahead and say this without looking at any numbers. So, I brought numbers.
Ooh, numbers.
This is looking between today through Friday, and we have Disneyland Paris, Disneyland, Universal Studios, Magic Kingdom, Epcot, Hollywood Studios, Animal Kingdom, Universal Studios Orlando. We have the single parks and the multi-parks. Now, a single park ticket today at Disneyland Paris would have been $98. A park hopper would have been $127. Disneyland adds an extra $100 to the starting price, making it $196, and adds $150 adding to the park hopper, going to $271. Universal Studios Hollywood, in case you didn't know, only has the one park out here, so that is $139. The Magic Kingdom, $189, Epcot, $184, Hollywood Studios, $184, Animal Kingdom, $169, or $257 for all of them. Universal Studios Orlando is $164 or $219. Now, we also have down here these little numbers here. These are undated tickets. This is where we're starting to get into more of this fluctuating ticket pricing. So, again, this $98 ticket is for if we had specified for today. If we didn't specify, it goes to $135. Okay? The $127 becomes $163. So, let's just see. We take this guy and we just minus out that guy.
It didn't like your math.
It did not like my math. That keyboard, I should have switched over to my big keyboard for this. That's $37 extra. Okay? So let's just take this guy. We'll throw this over the price. Or it needs to go over this price. That means it's a 38% increase. Okay? You still following me?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's just take the Disneyland one day. And let's say that we wanted to figure out if, based on the way we already see Disney has done the pricing, we take this 196 and we go times 1.38. That means that ticket became $270.48 for one park.
What?
Now, again, we don't know if they're going to stay to these numbers. This is
Yes.
just the numbers we have for us to use cross comparison. If we're talking the multi-park, again, we just take this guy here. We minus up here. It becomes $36.79. We take this guy over this guy. And that becomes, we'll round up to 29%.
Yeah.
So we take our multi-park and we go again.
That's Disneyland.
Times one.
Paris. Don't you want to do that to Disneyland?
Yep, I do. Thank you. Times 1. We said 29. That becomes $350 for that ticket.
Ooh.
I'm sorry. I love the parks. This is why I have a pass.
It's why
If
I
you
would
were to-
pass again too.
If you were to tell me that a park hopper ticket was going to cost me $350 to our park, I'd say you're crazy.
Yeah. I even think
Because-
the 270's crazy.
Because yeah, that's nuts. And I mean, okay, so we see that. So if we're looking at this and we break it across 8 hours, that means, we're looking an hour over an 8-hour day. An hour is going to cost me $25 at Disneyland right now.
Okay.
So again, we just need to take our percentage and go right there and go times 1.38. Instead, that becomes a $33, almost $34 an hour of value that I have to be able to pull out of that park.
And that's just for the ticket. That's not food. That's not if you got lightning lanes or anything.
And that's not going to change its occupancy. Like, it's going to eventually start to decline because people are going to get tired of paying for it. But if you still keep Magic Keys the way they are, or annual passes in Florida, it still means the lines are going to be just as busy. But I'm paying, in this case, an extra $10 an hour
To wait in a line.
And so then we look over here. These are all the parks. I mean, I guess if we look at this, again, I already did the math on all these ones. This is how many rides are at each park, total for the area, and then the value per ride. So, I mean, yeah, if we look at it, Disneyland is still the highest, besides Universal Studios or Orlando or Hollywood or Universal Studios. But you're not going to get all 52 rides done in a day.
No, you aren't. You can barely do that as is.
And once we add on the undated tickets, all of a sudden that value becomes almost the same as Universal.
That's
And so I mean, when we're looking at numbers, again, we don't know what Disney's going to do. All we know is in Paris, this is the way it is, and it's about 38% markup.
current.
Now, that being said, currently. Now, that being said, again, if they start fluctuating price like this, the example I like to use, okay, Jamie, you are a parent of 4 or a parent of 3, okay? Or no, parent of 4. You have 4 siblings, so
I have 3 siblings. I'm the 4th.
but there are 4 of you.
Yes.
So just think of it this way: put yourself in your parents' position. Okay, you go ahead and you jump on the interweb, and you see that the price is going to be, we'll even go based on Disneyland Paris, $93 for your group of 5.
I'm going to say 6.
What?
I said 6.
Okay. You get to the park, and all of a sudden that $93 is $98 because you didn't buy your ticket online. Maybe you only had cash at the moment. Maybe you got a cash bonus. That means each person is costing you an additional $5. meaning that's an extra $30 you didn't budget for, you didn't plan for, that changed in an hour. And based on the way Disney's done pricing before, who's not to say that restaurants aren't going to go ahead in a year or two migrate this in? And, oh, hey, we know that every day at noon, Olga's Cantina gets very busy. So from 11 to 1, all drinks are going to be twice the price.
That's what they're trying to do at grocery stores, and I don't like it.
Correct.
I don't mind changing the value based on previous stuff and sitting it, and it's not going to change. I'm good with that. If you want to use this philosophy and sit it out ahead of time, and it's set by the time it comes out, I don't care.
Well, again, you know me. I can't reach it. It's up on top of a shelf. I will drop money. I've gone to Trader Sam's and I've gone ahead and spent $110 to buy a drink. Mind you, if I bought the drink without the cup, it was $20. Because again, I don't mind spending the money. But I need to know what the money is, especially on my budget. My budget's super strict.
Yeah.
This idea is crazy.
Again, I don't mind the fluctuating price based on how busy it's going to be, all this other stuff. It helps me know what day I want to go because it's going to be a little bit lower priced. Helps me a lot. I like that. But
again,
dynamic pricing like this, I do not like.
Yeah, because again, I mean, we'll just pull it up real fast. We'll go into our tickets. If I can go ahead, if I can come over and yes, I know you have changing for adults and kids now. No, I don't need the park hopper in this case. If I can come ahead of time and just jump to their website and go, hey, look, I know exactly what the price is going to be that day.
Yeah.
That's okay to me. Yeah, you know, I'm going to sell you this $196 for a single park ticket. This is ridiculous. But that being said, at least I know on the 15th of March, it's $196. It means they are expecting more people because this is also the main weeks of spring break, which you don't want to go during spring break.
No, you don't.
But the pricing already got to a point. I don't think they can boost it anymore. If they go this fluctuating rate, they're not going to bring the price down.
No. If they brought the price down to the fluctuating thing, I still don't like it. But the prices are lower, so I'm not going to complain as much. But they aren't going to do that. Yeah,
because I mean, again, if it were to be, you know, that we would see them come around and okay, instead of being 196, let's look over here. 30 rides, 52 rides. So instead of being 196, it became 125. I'd be more okay with this. I still say that the value is higher than Disneyland Paris. There's more attractions there. Paris is a beautiful park, though. Don't get me wrong. I've been there plenty of times. Well, not plenty of times. I've been there once, but it was a long trip. I want to go back. I don't know if I'll ever go back. Hence why plenty of times is the wording there. But if we look at the value, that would make sense. But we know Disney's not going to lower its price. In fact, they want more because that's the biggest thing they boost during their earnings call is that the capital spending per person is higher than ever. They love that because that means people are spending more money. However, we also know their attendance is down, which means if they're getting more spending per person, they're making money, but that's because they're really digging through all people's pockets all the way down to the bottom.
Yeah.
We back when Jamie and I worked at a amusement park, we had a boss on special days who would legitimately do anything he could to get every last penny out of somebody's pocket because he wanted to go ahead and make sure they got some good money coming in. And it worked. But again, you can only do that so long until people go, I'm done.
Yeah.
I think we're going to see that bridge. Hopefully, we will see new leadership come in, and they're going to look at this and go, this is a problem. Because again, we're looking at these prices and we're talking this increase. Epic Universe is just around the corner. This shouldn't be a time to think about how to increase our price.
No.
Again, we've seen on their website, they're doing everything they can to mark their hotel rooms down because their bookings are way down in the gutters at the moment.
I remember it was like 2018-ish. I didn't have a Disneyland pass. I decided to go one day, and it was basically spring break. It was March 22nd, basically. Middle of the spring break rush. And I walked up and got a ticket for like $105.
Oh, yeah. I remember way back in the day, I would go ahead and every year I'd buy my girlfriend for Christmas a ticket to Disneyland. It would cost me a whole, I think, because I'd buy her a 3-day ticket, it cost me $125 for a 3-day one-park ticket.
Yeah.
Like, we're so far away from this, we're so far disconnected from this that I don't see us ever getting back to it until something goes wrong.
It's not like it's that far away that we were doing that either.
Well, I mean,
remember on the high days, it used to be like 124, 129 a couple before COVID.
I mean that was almost 20 years ago for me, Jamie. So that was a hot minute ago for me.
Fair. It feels like forever ago, even though it was like 6 years.
Yeah, it's been a minute. Any other thoughts, statements, concerns about all this?
I don't like it. I again, when you set the price and it's dynamic based on that other stuff, and it's set and it's not changing what is out there, I don't have a problem with, because I know it's not going to change.
Yeah.
But when you go and it can change, like getting something at the grocery store, and it changes by the time you check out, I do not agree with that. I do not like that.
No. And so is my clickbaitiness that this could ruin the Disney company? Is it clickbaity, or what is your thought of my statement?
I think if they go guns out and they're going to stick with it and it's what they're going to do, it will kill the Disney company, at least the park side of things. If they've seen that people don't like it and they or they do it and they see that people don't like it and they change it,
yeah,
I don't think it will be that bad, but it's going to hurt their reputation a lot.
No, and I agree. Will Disney try this? Again, this is a rumor. I think so. I think they will try it. Will it last? It will last at least. So here's my predictions. I predict it's going to come out just before May. What happens in May, Jamie?
May is Star Wars.
May is the start of the 70th anniversary.
Oh, yeah. I was thinking May the 4th be with you and all the...
No, yeah, I get where your mind was. May is the start of the 70th, and it's probably also May or June is when we'll see in Florida the launch of the new nighttime parade.
Uh-huh.
Being that we know both of that, I mean, again, we haven't been officially told when the parade comes out, but I'm assuming based on every other time Disney's released a parade, it's going to be June-ish.
Uh-huh.
I see this rolling out in either May or June, and one way or another, they're going to push it all the way through the month of, all the way through the summer.
Yeah.
Because even if it's not working, they'll be able to tell shareholders that this is just a trial period for us to see if it works. And that way, for every person that's wanting to come see Paint the Night, the new World of Color, Wondrous, they can legitimately be that person picking up the kids and shaking them upside down to drain every penny out of that pocket.
Yeah.
And if it fails, we hopefully will see Disney turn around and go, this was a bad idea. We apologize. We won't do this again. Or they're going to go, this was a great success. We just haven't seen the success yet. We need it longer for the market to prove and change to it. And they're just going to double down and keep going. And then, like I said, I see if that happens in a year or two, the restaurants and such switching that way. Because again, how many restaurants on Disney property at this point still use physical signs and not digital?
not that many from what I can tell.
I don't believe any of them still do. I think they're all digital now. Even again, Olga's for the most part, they kind of stopped giving paper menus. They have you scan the QR code. All that is an IT guy sitting behind a desk and pressing a button.
Yeah.
And we already seen more and more price fluctuations and changes happening to lightning lanes. This is just the build on the evolution of that. If we go down this route, that's a grim future I see for the company until somebody fixes it and comes back and apologizes and tries to rebuild brand loyalty and brand recognition. We need at this moment, in my opinion, someone like Michael Eisner who came in and saved the company from a hostile takeover that was happening.
Yeah.
And that's weird to say because Michael Eisner, towards the end of his career, made a lot of interesting choices.
Yeah. Let's go with that. That's a good
Let's go with that. That's the nicest way to put it. But if you did make this part of the video and you haven't liked and subscribed, what are you doing? Like and subscribe. It's right down there.
Just click the button. Click it.
The show is normally on Tuesdays. My co-host Justin's normally here. Jamie joins on that side every so often. And we again go through theme parks. We go through movies,
video games.
Who knows what we're going to be talking about? There's a lot of news that's been dropping. This is why this episode happened today. We also here on the channel do live stream video games. Currently doing a run through Kingdom Hearts 3 where I am stuck at Olympus until I reach level 100. We're almost there. I can almost move on and complete the game, and it's going to be a fast complete at this point because I'm almost 100. After that run, Jamie and Justin are going to go ahead and actually come together, and they're going to get a mod list all set up, get loaded in, and then I get to come in and find out what in the world is going on because it's going to be crazy. It's going to be chaos.
You have
For whatever reason, I have a feeling Donald Duck's going to be strapping. Because I could see you guys giving Donald Duck, a pew-pew, as I'm going to put it here, so we don't get in trouble with YouTube.
He needs to spread his freedom seeds.
He needs to spread it. Let's not word it that way. That gets demonetization for other reasons. Though we are not monetized. Almost there. And not this week, but the following week, every Wednesday at 5 p.m., Justin and I are going to be doing a live a live review of the episodes of Daredevil as they drop. And that I'm excited for. That looks fantastic. And if you like gory stuff, that's the show for you.
I'm excited to watch it.
Oh, it looks so good. Did you ever watch the Netflix one?
I watched a couple episodes. I just had a hard time staying in on it.
Okay.
Because I'd start watching it and then I'd get a couple of I'd binge watch 3 or 4 episodes and then something would come up and then I'd forget what happened. So then I have to do it again. And okay, I vaguely remember this and I don't want to keep rewatching these episodes.
That's fair. But until next time, see you later.
Have fun.